For as long as humanity has existed, one thing in the sky felt permanent: the moon. It watched over ancient hunters, guided sailors across black oceans, and quietly measured the passing of time. Every civilization trusted it. Every calendar depended on it. Every tide moved because of it. But on one single night in human history, that trust was shattered. It began subtly, no alarm, no explosion, no warning. Just a strange, unnerving feeling shared by millions around the world. A sense that the night sky looked wrong, even though no one could explain why. In the deserts of Nevada, stargazers noticed the moon seemed unusually dim, as if wrapped in a veil of invisible smoke. In Indonesia, fishermen reported tides behaving strangely, not rising, not falling, almost waiting. Scientists dismissed it as atmospheric distortion, but within minutes, dozens of observatories signaled an emergency. The moon's orbit had shifted, not by kilometers, not by meters, but by millimeters, just enough to be impossible. Celestial bodies do not jump, skip, or twitch. They follow the laws of gravity like clockwork. But on this night, the clock broke. At 11:41 p.m. UTC, something unthinkable happened. The moon's surface flickered, not like an eclipse, not like a shadow, but like a faulty hologram glitching in and out of reality. Cameras across 6 continents captured the same horrifying moment. The lunar disk turned pitch black, absorbing light instead of reflecting it. For 3 full seconds, the moon became a hole in the sky. Then, as billions watched, it vanished. Not drifting away, not exploding, not collapsing into dust, just gone. Like a deleted file. The stars behind it remained perfectly sharp, proving nothing blocked it. Nothing replaced it. Nothing moved in its path. It simply ceased to exist. Panic erupted worldwide. Animals screamed, birds fled their nests, and the ocean fell eerily silent as tides froze mid-motion. Astronomers issued alerts stating the obvious: this should be impossible. But the terrifying truth was yet to come. The moon wasn't taken by natural forces. It was removed with precision, a kind of precision no human technology could achieve, no asteroid could cause, no cosmic accident could explain. And as millions stared at the empty sky, a single question spread across the world like a shockwave. If something had the power to remove the moon, what else could it remove next? The night wasn't over, it had only begun. The disappearance of the moon should have plunged Earth into chaos within minutes. Tides should have collapsed. Earth's rotation should have destabilized. Weather systems should have begun unraveling instantly, but none of that happened. The absence of the moon caused nothing, and that was more terrifying than any catastrophe. It meant one thing: something was stabilizing Earth from the outside. Something powerful enough to override the fundamental physics of our planet. Within the first hour, global space agencies met in an emergency digital summit. NASA, ESA, CNSA, Roscosmos, JAXA. Every major institution compared data. And the data was unanimous. The moon's gravitational signature still existed. As if the moon was still there, but the light wasn't. If this was true, then humanity was not witnessing a disappearance. It was witnessing a transition, as though the moon had been shifted out of the visible spectrum, or into a dimension adjacent to our own. But before scientists could form a theory, Earth sent its own warning. At 2:14 a.m. UTC, seismic stations across the world detected something impossible. A vibration across the planet's crust, perfectly synchronized, lasting 0.83 seconds. It wasn't an earthquake, it wasn't a tectonic shift. It wasn't natural, it was rhythmic. Like a knock, one single knock on the surface of the Earth. The vibration rippled across continents, measured by thousands of instruments, perceived by millions of people. In Iceland, a woman described it as the ground breathing in. In South Africa, a family felt their windows shake even though the wind outside was still. In Japan, a construction worker recorded the trembling soil beneath his boots without any visible movement. Then an hour later, it happened again. A second knock. Identical measurements, identical timing, identical global reach. As if someone, or something, was signaling Earth with deliberate intention. Governments rushed to quiet the public. Official statements blamed deep mantle resonance. But leaked messages between scientists told a different story. It's coordinated, not geological. We are being scanned. But the most disturbing detail came from a radio observatory in Chile. During the exact milliseconds of the second planetary knock, its antennas detected a signal. Not noise, not interference, but a structured burst of information. Encoded precise, mathematically elegant. The pattern matched one thing: the moon's former orbit. It was as if something was using the absence of the moon to send a message directly to Earth's surface, like tapping on the glass of a fish tank. And then came the discovery that terrified every physicist on the planet. High-resolution satellite scans revealed a faint trail, an invisible distortion, leading away from where the moon had been. Not drifting into space, not falling toward Earth, but moving in a perfectly straight line toward a region of deep space where no known object existed. The moon wasn't lost, it was being transported. And whoever or whatever was transporting it had just announced their presence. The next knock would not be patient. For the next 4 hours, the world spun in a strange, uneasy balance, a planet missing its moon, yet pretending nothing had happened. Tides continued moving, but wrong. Not lower or higher, timed incorrectly, arriving minutes early in some places, hours late in others. Marine animals that had followed lunar rhythms for millions of years swam in chaotic patterns along coastlines. Biologists couldn't explain it. Oceanographers blamed instrument failure. Governments issued no statements, but the truth was spreading. Something had left our sky, something we depended on more than we ever understood. And then the impossible happened. Just before dawn, a soft glow appeared on the horizon over the Pacific. At first, people thought it was an early sunrise, but the light wasn't rising. It was descending. A circular veil of silver-blue luminance expanded downward like an enormous curtain, falling from the upper atmosphere. Phones couldn't capture it. Satellite feeds cut out each time the light pulsed. Even telescopes scattered the image as if the light itself bent around the lenses. Observers in Japan, Hawaii, and the west coast of the US all described the same eerie detail. The light had depth, as if the sky had developed an inner layer. For the first time, scientists publicly hinted something terrifying. The disappearance of the moon may not be a singular event. It might be part of a larger, coordinated process. Then came the first measurement that proved the world was not imagining things. Atmospheric pressure fluctuated globally, but not randomly. Every fluctuation occurred exactly 29.53 minutes apart. 29:53. The number of days in a lunar cycle. Even without the moon, the planet was still responding to its rhythm, which meant only one thing: the moon was still influencing Earth from wherever it had gone. Across observatories worldwide, telescopes detected something even more disturbing. Gravitational readings showed a massive object was still pulling on the planet, but the pull was no longer coming from the moon's known position. It was coming from above its old orbit. Higher further, receding, as though the moon had not vanished, but had been taken, lifted away in complete silence. Then eyewitness reports began flooding in from the northern hemisphere. People claimed they saw faint, slow-moving arcs of white geometry streaking through the upper atmosphere. Not shooting stars, not satellites, not aircraft. Segments of something enormous, something structured, something intelligent. Earth had been watching the sky, but now the sky was watching back. And when astronomers finally captured the first stable reading of the receding gravitational source, one chilling truth became undeniable. The moon wasn't drifting. It was following a trajectory, a path, a destination. Something had called it, and it obeyed. Earth was no longer alone. By noon, the world was divided into two groups: those who refused to believe the moon had vanished, and those who knew something far worse was happening. The gravitational pull continued rising by microscopic increments every hour, bending ocean tides in ways never recorded in human history. Weather forecasts became meaningless. Storms formed without heat. Winds shifted without reason. Birds migrated in spirals as though following invisible routes drawn across the sky. Something was rewriting the natural laws. Then at 12:14 p.m. UTC, the world heard a sound that no microphone captured. A mental resonance, a pressure in the mind, as if a silent chord had been struck across the entire planet. Millions of people gasped at the same moment, clutching their temples, feeling a vibration that did not exist in the air. It was not tinnitus, it was not seismic. It was directional, and the direction was upward. The same direction the moon had gone. Satellites malfunctioned instantly afterward, not shutting down but shifting frequency into a range no human language could decode. They broadcast only two repeating signals, one rhythmic, one geometric. The rhythmic one matched the new gravitational pulses. The geometric one displayed a perfect circle bisected by a single vertical line. The same ancient symbol found carved in ice caves, desert stones, and ocean cliffs for more than 10,000 years. A symbol older than recorded civilization. A symbol representing the gate between worlds. Earth's ancient cultures had painted it. Astronomers had dismissed it. Linguists had debated it. But now it was appearing everywhere, not as myth but as mathematics. The symbol wasn't a message, it was a diagram. At 12:31 p.m., global magnetic fields flickered like a dying heartbeat. Compasses spun uncontrollably. Birds dropped mid-flight. Electric grids dimmed without shutting off, as if the electricity itself were being stretched. Then the sky responded. The same silver-blue veil seen over the Pacific returned, this time engulfing the entire sky like a second atmosphere. But now it wasn't silent. It rippled, not like water but like memory, as if the sky were remembering something. And then came the phenomenon no scientist could explain. Shadows began appearing on the inside of the veil. Not clouds, not birds, not satellites, but silhouettes. Hundreds of them, thousands, geometric forms drifting behind the veil, moving as though examining the planet from the other side of a curtain. Long arcs, pillars, circular segments, a colossal architecture suspended above Earth. For the first time since the moon vanished, analysts proposed a terrifying idea. The veil wasn't a barrier. It was a window, a one-way observation field, and whatever had taken the moon was now looking at us, watching, measuring. Waiting? But for what? The answer would arrive that evening, in a form no one on Earth was prepared to face. For hours, the veil above Earth pulsed, faint, rhythmic, intentional. By nightfall, every major observatory on Earth reported the same impossible measurement. The moon had not moved away. It had been removed, extracted, taken out of space-time entirely. Gravity had been compensating artificially, step by step, as if someone were adjusting dials on a vast cosmic machine to keep Earth stable. Someone who didn't want the planet to panic. Someone who needed Earth alive. At 8:02 p.m. UTC, the veil rippled faster. The silhouettes behind it shifted like colossal machinery preparing to engage. Then, without warning, every device on Earth flashed the same burst of symbols. The circle split by a single vertical line. But this time the symbol wasn't static. It rotated, split, opened, and revealed a second symbol hidden beneath it. A map. A star configuration not seen anywhere in the present universe. A location that no longer existed. The meaning became obvious. Whoever was behind the veil wasn't coming from another star. They were coming from a time before the stars. Suddenly, the pressure in the atmosphere dropped. Animals whimpered, buildings groaned. The ocean stilled, the veil thinned, and for the first time humanity saw what stood behind it. Not ships, not entities, not technology, but a structure bigger than continents, its edges glowing with symbols older than the oldest human memory. It moved not through space, but through dimension, phasing in and out like a lens focusing on an image too vast to understand. The structure expanded across the entire horizon, and then it spoke, not in sound, not in words, but through gravity. A single pulse, gentle yet planet-shaking, surged downward, resonating inside every living being. People dropped to their knees. Screens vibrated, mountains hummed, and the message was unmistakable. We are restoring what was lost. Images filled the veil, flashes of a past Earth no human had ever seen. Oceans brighter, skies clearer, a moon untouched by craters, a planet unscarred by time. The moon we knew was not the first. Ours was the damaged remnant of something ancient, and they had taken it to repair it. The veil brightened, glowing a brilliant white as gravitational waves swirled into a vortex. The silhouettes moved into position, a doorway opened. A beam of soft blue light descended from the veil to the empty spot where the moon had once been. And then, slowly, beautifully, and something emerged. A sphere, white, perfect, pristine. Knew the moon, restored. The veil began dissolving. The gravity spikes flattened. The sky returned to its natural black. But just before the veil fully vanished, one final pulse, soft, almost like a goodbye, echoed across Earth. A final message: we will return when your world is ready to remember. And then, silence. The sky was normal again, but humanity was not.